What did Nurse Mbah hide from everyone? In the shadows of St. Mary's, a sinister mystery lurks.
Amaka and Chinedu must uncover the truth.
A hidden journal reveals chilling secrets. Can they escape her grasp? The truth will shock you. Discover the dark secrets of Nurse Mbah.
St. Mary's boarding school in Nigeria was renowned for its academic excellence and disciplined environment. But beneath its orderly facade lay a disturbing truth that only the students and a few brief staff members dared to whisper about. The core of this unsettling reality was Nurse Mbah, the school's matron and nurse, whose cruelty knew no bounds. The beginning of the new term was always bustling. Pairs said their goodbyes, cars pulled up, and students lodged their bags into the dormitories. Among them was Chinedu, a timid new student, clutching his mother's hand as he took in the imposing buildings and the sea of unfamiliar faces. "You'll be fine, Chinedu," his mother reassured him, her voice soft but firm. "Just follow the rules and study hard." Chinedu nodded, trying to muster a brave smile. "Yes, Mama." As they approached the main building, Nurse Mbah stood like a sentinel, her sharp eyes scanning the crowd. She was in her neat 50s with a stern face that seemed incapable of smiling. Her uniform was crisp, and she exuded an air of cold authority. Yes, you," she barked, pointing at Chinedu.
What are you standing there for? Movies.
"Yes, Ma," Chinedu stammered, his heart pounding. He hurried inside, casting a nervous glance back at the formidable figure watching him. Inside Nurse Mbah's office, the atmosphere was more or less intimidating. The room was cluttered with files and medical supplies, and a mysterious locked cabinet caught Chinedu's eye as he was lured past it. It looked old and out of place among the modern furnishings, its heavy padlock gleaming ominously in the dim light. Chinedu couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. He had heard whispers about Nurse Mbah even before arriving, and now seeing her up close, he understood why the students feared her so much. The next morning, Nurse Mbah addressed the students in the hostel common room. Her voice was as sharp as her gaze, and every word seemed to slice through the air. "There are rules here," she began, "and you will follow them, no exceptions." Her speech was punctuated by examples of her strict enforcement. Chinedu watched as a student was made to scrub floors for talking back, and another had her belongings confiscated for being out of bed after lights out.
"Ma, we're sorry, we'll not do it again."
The message was clear. Defy Nurse Mbah and you will suffer the consequences. At night, the dormitory buzzed with whispered conversations. The older students were eager to share their stories with the newcomers. "I hope she keeps something in that locked cabinet," one student said, her eyes wide with fear.
"They say she enjoys punishing us,"
another one said. "She's always looking for an excuse." Chinedu listened, his authority piked and his fear growing. He was still trying to settle in, but the stories about the nurse were hard to ignore. Amaka, a bright and cheerful girl, noticed Chinedu's anxiety and decided to befriend him. "Don't worry, Chinedu," she said with a reassuring smile. "We'll stick together. She can't be that bad, right?" Chinedu glanced nervously around the room. "I hope you are right," he replied, though he wasn't entirely convinced. As the days passed, Nurse Mbah's cruelty became more apparent. She seemed to take pleasure in the students' suffering, often dishing out harsh punishments for minor infractions. Her favorite target was a quiet boy named Jide, who was often late due to his asthma. One evening, Jide had an asthma attack, and Nurse Mbah refused to give him his inhaler until he begged for it in front of the other students. Besides of Jide gasping for air, tears streaming down his face haunted Chinedu and Amaka. Then came the day of the injection incident. A student named Tolu had been complaining of a mild fever. Instead of treating him with care, Nurse Mbah decided to inject him with a mysterious substance, claiming it was for his own good. Tolu winced as Nurse Mbah jabbed the needle into his buttock with unnecessary force. The other students watched in horror as Nurse Mbah seemed to take pleasure in his discomfort. "Hold still," she snapped, not bothering to be gentle. Within hours, Tolu's condition worsened. His buttocks began to swell alarmingly, and he was in excruciating pain. The swelling became so severe that he could hardly walk or sit. "What did she do to me?" Tolu groaned, clutching at Chinedu and Amaka for support. Chinedu's eyes filled with fear and anger. "We have to do something. This can't go on." Nurse Mbah's reign of terror didn't end there. She was known for making students run laps around the field until they collapsed from exhaustion. If anyone dared to show signs of fatigue, she would force them to do it all over again the next day. There was also the time she locked a student named Amima in a dark, damp storage room overnight for sneaking a snack after dinner. When Amina was finally let out, she was covered in insect bites and visibly traumatized. One particular cruel punishment involved a girl named Ifoma, who had accidentally spilled water in the dining hall. Nurse Mbah made her lick the water off the floor while the other students watched, horrified and helpless. The extent of her cruelty seemed to know no bounds. Nurse Mbah once discovered that a student named Emeka had a peanut allergy after he experienced a severe reaction. Instead of helping him, she forced him to eat peanuts as punishment for him not informing her earlier. Emeka ended up in the hospital and his parents threatened to sue the school, but the matter was quietly settled and Nurse Mbah remained. The more Chinedu and Amaka dug into Nurse Mbah's past, the more disturbing details they uncovered. Nurse Mbah, whose real name was Adaobi, had never actually completed her nursing training. In fact, she had been expelled from nursing school due to her unethical practices and lack of empathy towards patients. Desperate for work, Adaobi forged her credentials and managed to secure a job at a small clinic. Her tenure there was short-lived, as complaints about her rough handling of patients and questionable methods began to pile up. She moved from clinic to clinic, each time leaving behind a trail of dissatisfied patients and weary employers. Finally, she found her way to St. Mary's boarding school. The headmaster at the time, more concerned with filling the position quickly than thoroughly vetting her qualifications, hired her on the spot. Adaobi became Nurse Mbah, a name she adopted to distance herself from her tainted past. With no real oversight at the school, Nurse Mbah was free to implement her own twisted methods of discipline and care. Her lack of proper training often resulted in harsh and sometimes dangerous treatments, which she justified as necessary measures to maintain order and discipline. As the time progressed, more students began falling ill mysteriously, and Nurse Mbah was always nearby administering her peculiar remedies. Chinedu and Amaka grew more suspicious, their curiosity turning into a determination to uncover the truth. One evening, as they passed Nurse Mbah's office, they overheard a conversation that made their blood run cold.
"I saw her putting something in the food,"
a student whispered urgently to a friend. Amaka grabbed Chinedu's arm.
"We need to find that was in that cabinet,"
she said, her voice low but resolute. Late one night, when the school was shrouded in darkness and silence, Amaka and Chinedu snuck into Nurse Mbah's office. The air was thick with tension as they approached the locked cabinet. Amaka produced the hairpin and began to pick the lock, her hands trembling slightly.
"Are you sure about this?"
Chinedu whispered, his eyes darting nervously around the room.
"Do you want to know what she's hiding or not?"
Amaka shot back, focused on the task at hand. With a soft click, the lock gave way and the cabinet door swung open. Inside, they found vials of strange, colorful substances and a notebook filled with details on each student. "What is this?" Chinedu whispered, his voice barely a whisper. "Why does she have this?" Amaka's eyes widened as she scanned the pages. "This explains everything," she said, her voice shaking. "We have to tell someone." The next day, they decided to confront Nurse Mbah. They couldn't let her continue her bad practices, not when so many lives were at risk.
Nurse Mbah,
Mapa shouted as they paused into her office. The matron looked up, her eyes narrowing. "What is the meaning of this?" "We know what you're up to," Amaka declared, holding up the notebook. "We are killing the headmaster." A chilling smile spread across Nurse Mbah's face. "You foolish children," she hissed. "You have no idea what you are dealing with." As they turned to leave, Nurse Mbah nudged at them, her face contorted with rage. She managed to grab Chinedu's palm, her grip like iron. "You think you can stop me?" she snarled.
"I've been here longer than you can imagine. You are nothing but pests to me."
Chinedu struggled to set himself free, but Nurse Mbah's strength was overpowering. Amaka, thinking quickly, grabbed a nearby chair and swung it at Nurse Mbah, striking her arm. The impact made the loss release Chinedu, who stumbled back, panting. "Run!" Amaka yelled, and they bolted out of the office, the notebook clutched lightly in Amaka's hand. Nurse Mbah was not one to give up easily. She pursued them through the dark corridors of the school, her footsteps echoing ominously behind them. "We have to get to the headmaster," Chinedu grasped as he rounded the corner. "But he's in it too," Amaka replied. "We need to find another way to expose her." They reached the dining hall where a few students were still milling about. Seeing Amaka and Chinedu running in, panic etched on their faces. The students realized something was wrong. "What's happened?" one of them said. "Nurse Mbah," Amaka pancake. "She's after us. We need help." The students quickly formed a barrier blocking the entrance as Nurse Mbah appeared, her face twisted in fury. "Get out of my way," she demanded. "These children are mine." But the students, emboldened by Amaka and Chinedu's bravery, stood their ground. "No, they are not," one of them shouted back. "We are all in this together." Nurse Mbah's eyes blazed with anger, but she knew she was outnumbered. She hissed at Ben, turning on her heel and disappearing back into the shadows. With the immediate danger averted, Amaka and Chinedu led the students to a nearby teacher's house, one they trusted. Mr. Okike listened in shock as they recounted their discovery and purchase. "This is unbelievable," he said, shaking his head. "But we need proof." Amaka handed him the notebook. "This is all we need. We have to take it to the authorities." Mr. Okike nodded, his expression grim. "We will, and we'll make sure she never hurts someone again." The following days were a whirlwind of investigations and revelations. The authorities were brought in and Nurse Mbah was arrested. The notebook contained detailed records of her unethical and harmful practices, which she had been conducting under the guise of medical care. The students were relieved but also deeply affected by the ordeal. Amaka and Chinedu were hailed as heroes, their courage in exposing Nurse Mbah's secrets, bringing them closer together and earning them the respect of their peers.
With Nurse Mbah gone, her shadow lingers. What secrets lie in the journal? Could there be more to Nurse Mbah's story than anyone knows?